This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
It's 11:07 at WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast. And you're on Never Alone from Harbor Place with Executive Director Katrina Beasley. And a very pleasant good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Greg?
Doing very well. How are you doing?
I am doing well for summer.
Yeah. And of course, we had a couple little storms the last couple days, huh?
Yeah, my goodness, I tell you, it has been a challenge, these afternoon storms, you know. But of course, we're safe here at Harbor Place.
Yeah, you are a little bit higher ground and our transmitter property on Village Green. I had to go
Yeah,
way in
absolutely.
last night. We got a couple direct lightning hits, and needless to say, transmitters don't like that very well. So
Absolutely.
had
Yeah,
to kickstart
absolutely. Yeah.
it. Oh, brother! But yeah, I mean, we've just been deluged here on the Treasure Coast.
Yeah, it's been one of those things. And so of course, we're going into the month of August and probably gearing up for hurricane season, right? The heart of hurricane season, I should say. End of August, the beginning of September. So yeah.
There you go. Yep. And as we have said several times, your building is kind of made for hurricanes. It's rock solid, and you
It
got all the backups too.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, of course, when you talk about designing assisted living communities and you're thinking about the person that you're serving, which is our senior adults, you want to make sure that we have safe structure. And we do have that here at Harbor Place with our impact windows and then, of course, our generators that will power a great number of areas within the community to keep our residents safe and cool, make sure that we're still able to feed them, not just the hurricane supply food, but the actual food from the freezers and the coolers. So, which is great.
Oh yeah, it's very important. It really is. But you are gearing up now for fall. The events are starting to happen at Harbor Place.
They are. And so, of course, we start this month, the first day of August, I tell you. So, certainly, still in the dog days of summer, obviously. So, still enjoying some of the summer things that we have going on within the community. But as we move towards fall, and partnering more with some of our healthcare partners out in the local communities, we do have a number of events that are going to be happening as well as some things that we want to host some folks who may be interested in senior living, whether independent or assisted living. And so we have some events that are going to be coming up as well.
That sounds great. And let's see, you have a couple in August as well. Is that correct?
Yep. So the first event that we have is going to be on August. It's actually on August, what is it, August 17th? I think it's August 17th. I'm not quite,
17 or 18.
I forget. Oh, yes, it is August 17th. That is where we are inviting those who may be interested in senior living to come out and spend a little bit of time with us. I won't call it a happy hour, but like a social hour we're going to have. So having some beverages and having some hors d'oeuvres and some snacks, all while touring the community and then being able to settle in with some of our residents here, learn a little bit more about our community, meet some of our residents that are here, our staff. So that's going to be on August 17th. I believe it is from 4 until 6. And so those that are interested can call the community and RSVP for that. And then on the 18th, We actually have Dr. Callis, Henry Callis, who's going to be coming in and he's going to be sharing a little bit with our residents and then, of course, those in the community about forgetfulness, right? So that's all we've all experienced that. But he's just going to talk a little bit more about what that means and some ways to deal with that when it happens.
And I know you had him on, I think it was last year, maybe the year before. And wow, he is so powerful and a great message,
Yeah.
especially for all of us, not excluding you, of course, elder folks out there. Yeah.
Like I said, we've all experienced full forgetfulness. So Dr. Callis is going to come and he's going to share that, even share some signs of dementia that we can look out for. So whether we're caring for those in a setting such as Harbor Place, or maybe caring for a loved one at home or a neighbor or a friend, he will share some signs of dementia. And then some ways that you can help slow the progression, and then also some resources for our residents and families, and then our friends out in the community as well. So that's going to be on Friday, the 18th at 1:30 here at Harbor Place. So if anybody's interested, they can call the community RSVP for that. And the number is 772-337-4330.
Boy, that sounds great. And of course, I just can't even believe it's August already. And yeah, fall is right here. You know,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
when you guys really get busy.
Yeah, as we move towards the fall season, holiday season, the community tends to be a lot more bustling with a number of events, holiday events that we do here in the community, as well as some of our healthcare partners and neighbors come into the community and host events. And so when we start to really advertise those or share those with the community, we do want you to come. We like showing off, right? We like showing off the community. We like showing off the services and the amenities that we have to offer. And so you'll hear from me as we gear up for fall and as the events are coming. Certainly, I will share with you and then with our neighbors here that are listening in on a weekly basis on the show.
That sounds great. And you do, you have an absolute showcase. And with all the remodeling that went on last couple of years, it's really like a brand new building, even though it's more than a couple decades old.
It really is. And of course, in order for us to keep up with the times, we're certainly always looking at the different ways that we can enhance the services and the amenities here at the community. So yeah, always working, always doing. Want to just make sure that we're always, moving forward, thinking forwardly.
So a lot of the seniors in your community, are they plugged in internet wise? I mean, are they becoming wiser to the web?
They are. And many of our residents, of course, they don't just have cell phones, they have iPhones. They have laptops. Most of them will read from them, listen to music. And then, of course, once a week, we do have our tech support with our activity staff. And so the residents can come in, they can ask those questions, they can get help maybe with use of the tablet, or maybe they're stuck with a certain program or they're looking for a program. And so that's typically on Fridays where, like I said, our activity staff provide tech support to our residents, whether it's a laptop, phone, whatever the device is. If they have Alexas in their apartments and they want to know how to make it do some other features, we can help them with that as well.
Can they help me turn my computer on?
We can do that too.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah, it is so funny because I was in a store the other day, and there was one person. She's not quite my age, but close, and she was discussing with somebody else about an app. So I thought, okay, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is, with technology, right? It's so amazing now. And with many of our residents, they're just bowled over with the idea of the laptop and then being able to really find their music, right? That music that they love, and be able to, there's an app for that, right? And so they are just bowled over with what they're learning, and what they're discovering. So between our team here and then of course their grandkids or their great grandkids, our residents really are becoming more and more tech savvy, I tell you.
Yeah, well, and of course, YouTube Music has everything. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
every genre around.
absolutely. And they love that. And so although they can listen to that on their Alexa or on their laptop or their tablet, they also enjoy the entertainers that we have coming into the community as well, right? So at least 2 or 3 times during the week, we have someone that's coming in, and entertaining, especially taking them back to the days of when, right? And so playing all different genres, and our residents just absolutely love it.
Oh, that's neat. So that has come back since the whole COVID mess, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're doing, especially during our happy hours, we usually will have an entertainer. So happy hours are every Friday, right, from 3 o'clock right up until about 4:30 in the afternoon before they go in for dinner. And then, of course, we do our wind down Wednesdays, on Wednesdays, right, in our bistro. And then, of course, on Mondays, we do our Mimosa Monday. So, hey, right. Yeah, there's always those opportunities, right, to socialize and just sit and listen to music and enjoy some spirits at the same time.
Wait a minute. Mimosa Monday, Wind Down Wednesday, and then the Friday
Happy
happy
hour.
hour.
Fridays is happy hour.
Whew. What on Tuesday and Thursday?
So really, again, giving an opportunity for our residents to socialize with one another, right? To learn a little bit more about their neighbors and their friends, to meet new friends, while they're here. Obviously, there are always going to be those that they draw nearer to, more so than others, but it certainly gives them an opportunity to get to know their neighbors.
That's marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. And you've talked about it, and obviously your predecessors have over the last 15, 20 years, is the whole socialization aspect. That is so important for the
It
seniors.
it really is, right? Nothing like being able to see others, right? I mean, yeah, you have your neighbors that are, down the street or right next to you, and you might see them if you're taking out the trash or, maybe you're going somewhere and you kind of throw up your hand. But here at Harbor Place, we're designed, right? We're set up, whether it's dining, whether it is at a happy hour, whether it is at another social programming, just passing in the hallway, sitting, by the pool, whatever it is, there's that opportunity for our residents to engage one another, right? Stimulate the mind, the brain, the conversation. It really does make a difference when the person can engage socially with others.
Yeah, that's so important, and especially if you are in a new setting, getting used to meeting people again is very, very important.
Yeah. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is knowing, getting to know the resident before they even move in, right? Understanding what some of their interests are. What did they have a career outside of the home? If so, what was that? What did family look like? when they were raising their family. What does family look like now for them? And so taking all of that and really just, knowing our residents here and then being able to pair them up, right? So, hey, Mrs. Smith, this is Mrs. Gordon. And guess what? She worked, at NASA as well, right? So really, like minds, right? It's easier to draw together when you have similar interests, similar likes, similar family type structure. It makes it a lot easier to settle into a community setting like this and make new friends.
And it is fascinating to me over the years hearing uh, some of the careers of your residents that were just really, really incredible.
Yeah. And you know what, Greg? It is amazing. So every day I have the opportunity to learn more and more about our residents. So on Monday, I was walking outside and one of our residents was walking, getting her walk in, as she says. And we just kind of stopped and I was talking to her a little bit. And then she had shared with me that I didn't know that she was an attorney and what so I asked her, I was like, well, what did you specialize in? And she says patents, right? And I said, wow. And she was like, oh yeah, I would go over the contracts, for these patents and make sure that it was amazing what she was sharing with me. And so oftentimes, when we learn, someone's story and know what they did, right? When they were working their career, I mean, it is amazing. And I mean, she still just kind of lit up, right? And then she shared, she said, you know what, but they still want to call me. They still want to call me and ask me my advice. And I tell them I'm retired now, right? But I just think that is so special that she still has others that are calling on her that she's worked with to ask her advice or to ask her a question. And so it is a rewarding feeling, an opportunity to be able to learn about our residents, because oftentimes we just see them as this older person, right? But I tell you, the lives that they've led, the stories that they can share, I mean, it's the most amazing thing, and I love it. I love having the opportunity to do that.
A patent attorney.
Yeah,
Wow. That is, of all the fields in
I
law,
know.
that is really, really unique.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she told me she enjoyed sciences. And I thought, oh my gosh, right? And so, but when she shared that with me, it kind of it did. I said, you know what? I could see that on you, right? Because just in her day-to-day activity and me engaging with her and in her engaging with others, you could see it. You could see that she loved the sciences. So it's one of those amazing things. And again, that's part of what we do, right? We're not just, showing you the community. We can do that. Anybody can really do that, right? The services and the amenities, but it really is getting to know the whole person, to know their family, their life history, the stories. Yeah.
Well, and I think when we were coming over pre-pandemic to do the Christmas kid shows, um, the number of people who have lived there for years, I think
For years.
that is telling about your organization as well.
It really is, because, we never know, if someone is truly, truly gonna love, the community and the setting. And so every day we just strive to make sure that we are um, meeting the needs, we're listening, right, to what our residents are saying so that we can always be thinking forwardly, right? What can we do better? How can we, change some of the services or the amenities? So listening to our residents, they're the voice, right? We're here for them. And so I just believe that, When we have a happy house, so to speak, residents will stay. And I tell you, and it will sustain life, right? Life giving. When you have a happy environment, a happy place that you're living and growing and being able to go day to day, it is amazing the number of residents that we've had here for a number of years, because they're happy. And it's not anything I've done, it's my predecessors who have put things in place. And again, we just kind of keep that going each and every day.
And there are so many that have reached the 100-year mark. And again, just listening to some of their experiences, I remember one lady talking about seeing a car for the first time. And that was so hard for me to imagine as a kid growing up in the 50s. But sure, that would have been the case. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah. They've shared stories of their parents, right, growing up, and what that looked like at the time that they were growing up. And I tell you, we have, I believe right now we have 5 centurions here. And so it is amazing, and to have the opportunity, right, to what I like to say, sit at their feet, right, and hear those stories of when they were growing up, and then of course when they were raising their kids, and then what's happening now with their with their grandkids and their great grandkids, right? And so it is amazing, again, to have the opportunity to be able to hear the stories each and every day. So it's more than just the selling or the sharing, the touring of the community, but it really is growing with our residents, seeing and hearing their stories.
Yeah, and there're just so many wonderful stories. And I forget who it was that was telling us during the Christmas Kids show one time. She said, you really should be transcribing this because these are some good stories. And I said, yeah, you're right. That would be a great book.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, believe it or not, Greg, we do have a couple of residents here who are like writing their memoirs, right? Like they really are jotting down these times. And what better time, right, to write these stories so that their grandkids, some of them, their grandkids will relate to, right? Because they've lived it too when we talk about the pandemic, right? And some of those things. But when I hear the comparison from then and from now, right? It is amazing that history does repeat itself. And I tell you, our residents are just amazed. It's a little different, they say, but it's pretty much what they did back then. And I hear that all the time.
That's interesting that you actually have some writers there that
We do. We do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One resident is putting together some letters that she got from her brother that he was serving in the military, and she wants to have those because he wrote to her. And so she's going to put those together so that she can share those with his kids, right? Those letters that he wrote to her. So, I'm telling you, every day I am in awe of what our residents are doing.
That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
And they're basically paying it forward to the next generation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the amazing things about having the opportunity to serve our senior adults each and every day here, right? The wealth of knowledge that we gain every day with them. Yeah.
Well, in dealing in the athletic world as long as I have, you hear coaches saying that they learn as much from their players as, the players learn from them.
Oh, absolutely.
True.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, speaking of sports, so we have a resident, he started he was part of, I forget the college, but he started the first women's soccer and he wrote a book. Yeah, it
Wow.
is just amazing.
There
Great.
you go.
It is amazing, right? And when he shared that, I thought, oh my goodness. So I read the book, right? I'm not much of a soccer fan, but it was amazing. And really, the book was about techniques, things that they were developing, right? As they were starting this women's soccer league at this university. And he shared with me the magazine article that they did. I read the book. I mean, I'm telling you, the lifestyle, right? The lifestyle that our residents have led, and they're still living today. Many of them are still volunteering out in the community, whether they're doing pickleball, whether they're at the library or at the hospital, now that the hospitals are doing volunteers again. They are living life with purpose. Yep.
That's great. That's great. I remember a few years back, you had a fellow, he's no longer with us, but he played in the National Football League,
Mm,
the New York
okay.
Giants, and
Okay.
very famous player, I think a Hall of Famer. And,
Wow.
yeah, and he was a resident at Harbor Place for a
Wow.
long time. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah, and a real character. I mean, he was truly a character of the game, and
Yeah.
yeah, and he shared a lot of his stories with us. And oh my, yeah, he was fascinating. But this is interesting that you actually have someone um, who had written a book on soccer, and wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just amazing the opportunity that we have here to serve our seniors. Oftentimes, people will look at our older adult and just think that they've always been that age, but they're the same person as when they were born and when they were growing up and when they were raising their families. They're still the same person, right? Same desires, same, sharing their stories. It's, I tell you, we have fun here. We have fun here.
And I'm just wondering at 78 if I'm ever going to grow up.
Please don't.
Okay. Okay. Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
Oh my. So about halfway through now, and again, you've got two events coming up this month as we really start kicking off the fall schedule. And
Yeah.
yeah, and one is open to all of us outside as well.
Yeah. I mean, really, those two events. I mean, most of the events that we have here, whether they're geared for our residents, we still want to be able to invite the community in, especially when we're talking about an event with a physician, right? Dr. Callis, who's going to come in and just talk a little bit about forgetfulness, the signs and the symptoms maybe of dementia, what to look for. And so wherever we can educate, not just our residents, but the community at large, certainly we want to be able to have that opportunity. And so to invite them in to come in to hear Dr. Callis. Again, that's going to be on Friday, August the 18th, starting at 1:30 here in our meeting room. And so we invite the community to come out, enjoy some light refreshments while learning a little bit more about forgetfulness and dementia. And they can just call the community at any time, 772-337-4330, and just say, hey, I want to register for the event on Friday, August the 18th with Dr. Callis. And then, of course, for those who may be considering senior living community options, certainly on that day before the 17th, we're going to have just a social here. So get a chance to tour the community, see some of our services and amenities, and then have some hors d'oeuvres and some light refreshments, along with a little bit of a summer cocktail here at the community. So those are the two events that are coming up most recently. And then, of course, as the other events are coming along, I'd love to be able to share with those with the community as well.
And you certainly can do it here on Never Alone. There's no doubt
Right?
about
Yeah, you're
it.
right. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Greg. You're always giving me that opportunity.
Oh, well, it's so important. It really is. And I presume if folks are out driving around now and just kind of thinking of this, maybe for their parents or maybe themselves, you are still doing tours as well, you and Pat?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Obviously, we want to value someone's time, right? So if we can schedule it, we'll schedule it. But if you're just out and about and you go, hey, you know what? I heard about that place. Stop by. Whether it's me or Pat, honestly, all of our directors here absolutely love the community, can do the tour. But Pat and I certainly would love to host anyone who wants to get a little bit more information about the community, who wants to see what we have to offer here, just stop by anytime. We are here, or give us a call and schedule a time to come in so that you know, you have a little bit of time to ask the questions. Have some lunch with us, or if it's early afternoon or dinner time, have a meal with us. Certainly, we would be happy to host you. So whether you stop by or whether you call the community 772-337-4330, we'd love to be able to share with you the services and the amenities we have here at Harbor Place.
Or you could plan your tour during Wind Down Wednesday or Happy Hour on Friday.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, listen, if that's the case, we will host you too, right? Hey,
Ah, yes.
again, I always believe, that you got to really just kind of see it in action. I can talk about it all day long about the services and the amenities and what we do here and the social programming, but certainly it's nothing like coming in and seeing it for yourself in action,
And
meeting some of our residents, meeting some of our staff. Yeah.
and your activities seem like, from sunrise to sunset, they're almost nonstop.
Sure. I mean, listen, both in our assisted living and our independent living community, we offer anywhere from 6 to 7 activities a day, starting in the morning time, whether it's Zumba, whether it is cardio drumming, whether it is yoga or chair exercise or sitter-cise, as we call it. There is horse racing, Pekino. One of the favorites is bingo, canvas painting, art classes. And then, of course, the residents will oftentimes gather in their small group settings, right? And they're playing bridge or mahjong or canasta. I just had a request. Someone asked about bridge. A couple of our residents in assisted living wanted to know how to play blackjack. And so blackjack happens on Thursday nights in the community. So, I mean, again, you won't get tired here, right? And our residents oftentimes will say there is so much to do. And many of them, when they come down in the morning time, they literally aren't going back up until the evening.
That's that's amazing. That's amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have some artists there, huh?
We do. And so once a week, we are doing some canvas painting. There's a couple of residents who have agreed to do some card making, right? So they're making these cards themselves. And so, I mean, really just some talented residents that we have here, and they're not afraid to showcase it, right? And to help others, which is great. I mean, really just friendly, just being neighborly, just being friendly to one another, and not to mention the activities, the excursions that we go on, right? So we're going to do the Target runs and the Walmarts and the Publixes and those things, but we're getting ready to gear up. We're going down south. We're going south to the casinos. One of the favorites that the residents love to do here. Movies, plays, right? I mean, going to the botanical gardens. I mean, we got it. We're here.
I
You're
love it.
never bored. You're never alone and you're never bored.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should change the name of the show to Never Alone and Never Bored. That I think that's phenomenal. And do you get a good size group, say, going to the botanical gardens?
We do. Although many of our residents do still drive, it's nothing like boarding the bus, right? Or either the town car and going to the botanical gardens. Right now, it's a little hot for that. But of course, as the winter time or as the fall comes and the weather is a little bit cooler, then we do have more of an active participation going to those outdoor events.
That's phenomenal. That really is. Casino though, huh? Woo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are excited. They are excited to be going. So we have a couple of trips scheduled for this month, August, and then we have a couple of more that's going to be happening in September. And then of course we're planning to go see the Port St. Lucie, what is it, the Mets?
Yep.
So we're going to go see them. So we're going out to a baseball game. Yeah,
Yep. You've got
absolutely.
I think one more month in the season. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and they have done such a good job at Clover Park
Mm,
to improve all of it. And
okay.
for some of the folks, obviously can't climb stairs. There's elevators,
Yeah.
and it's a great experience out there.
Yeah, I've never gone to a professional baseball game, and so this is exciting to well, the residents invited me, so it's great to be able to go.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
and we used to have a conference room here, but because the St. Lucie Mets did such a good job on Christmas in July, we could
Oh,
barely get in there for all the toys for the Christmas kids.
oh
So,
wow.
oh
Nice.
yeah, yeah, we had the what 27th annual Christmas in July game just
Wow.
a few weeks back, and it was a huge success.
Yeah.
Huge success. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and people get a ticket for every toy they bring, and yeah, it's very cool, and
Yeah.
we can't thank them enough. It's wonderful.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. That's good.
Yeah, well, now see, you need some ex-ball players maybe that might pop into your place.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen. Well, I mean, we have such a diverse group of residents here, different backgrounds, different interests and likes. That's one of the beauties of it, right? So it does always keep us on our toes, right? Planning, and trying to figure out what can we do next. And our residents help us with that, right? Because they're making the suggestions, the ideas. And so it does help us because we want to make sure that we're in tune to what their needs are, right? Not what we want, but what our residents want. And so through meeting with the residents once a month, sharing the different things that are happening in the community from an operations standpoint, and then, of course, being able to have the opportunity to hear our residents and what are some of the things that are working well, what's not working well, and what can we do to make their lives even more enjoyable while they're here at Harbor Place. And so a lot of communication, a lot of listening to our residents. And so everything that we do is really geared back to our resident.
That's great. That is great. Now, for folks driving around, if you are in a civic group or just a group looking for a home, is that back room now in use?
It is. And so we've had a couple of our religious organizations reach out to us wanting to have some midweek services here. So we're in the process of working out the logistics of that, as well as we have a couple of support groups that have come back to the community and are holding their monthly or weekly meetings here. Retired Nurses Association is meeting here. Again, some of those support groups. I just had someone from the veterans group reach out about having some activities and some events here. So we're excited that we, one, have the space to be able to partner with some of those organizations out in the community to host them here. And while they're here, being able to show off the community, right? To share some of the services and the amenities. So we're just fortunate that we have the space and that we can partner with some of those organizations in the community.
And it's amazing now. It sounds almost like this is pre-pandemic, with everything you've got going, whether it's trips out, you name it, and people coming in. It sounds like finally the pandemic is behind us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, although, you heard just like they said, it's declared it's no longer a pandemic. Certainly, many of the protocols that we had in place, we've kind of relaxed some of those, but we still practice our infection control and our screening mechanisms for our guests and our residents and families that are coming into the community. So while we may not have all of those protocols that we had in place during the pandemic, we still are practicing our infection controls and our screening processes whenever someone comes to the community.
Which makes perfect sense. You're protecting your family.
Absolutely. Yep. Protecting our family, residents, our associates, guests that are coming into the community. So while we are pleased, that we aren't wearing the mask or anything like that, but we still want to make sure that we are being good stewards, right, of what we've been given charge over. So certainly appreciate the cooperation when the organizations or guests or families come into the community and understand some of our infection control policies are still in effect.
Yep, and it is a must, and and like I have told you several times, going through and that magic machine that you have that it seems like does everything but cook breakfast, and it's it is really good that you have that on hand.
Yeah, and I mean, with the AccuShield, I mean, obviously that was something that came about during the pandemic. But I tell you, it even works, if someone just has a common cold and they may be, have fever-like symptoms, it will take the temperature. It will flag our receptionist. And then at that point, the receptionist begins to just ask some questions and then help the guest, right, or the family members safely still be able to visit their loved one while here in the community, while keeping not only their loved one safe, but of course our other residents and our associates safe as well. So we are, and I don't know who invented it, but I'm glad that we have it. It is still part of our screening and infection control and processes that we have here at Harbor Place. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's so very important. It really is. Well, this has been really enlightening. I just can't get over the patent lawyer that's a resident of yours now, because that's such an unusual field.
It
And
really is.
you talk about a person with stories to tell. My goodness.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
book.
But again, it's one of those things that makes it so enriching and rewarding to be able to serve, right, and work in a setting such as this, right? Because you just never know what you're going to learn. And each and every day, I have the opportunity to learn more and more about our residents and their families. And so I'm just grateful to have the opportunity.
When you started in this business, did you ever think you could learn this much about the people you were dealing with?
I had no idea. I just
Yeah, no,
knew
I
that
believe that.
yeah,
I believe
I
that.
had no idea. Because when I was in college, I mean, you kind of heard about these type of settings, right? Senior living communities. But I tell you, it isn't until you get into the setting and until you get into the crust of it, right? And you begin to meet the residents and their families. And I tell you, we're doing orientation today. And one of the new associates says it's like family. And I said, absolutely, right? When they cry, we cry. When they're celebrating, we're celebrating, right? And so it's family. And so if you want to be a part of the family, I'm just going to do the shameless plug, Greg,
Hey, go for it. Go
right?
for it.
You want to be a part of this family, right? The Harbor Place at Port St. Lucie family. Give us a call, come in and check us out. Like I said, I could talk about it all day long, but seeing is believing. And so give us a call, 772-337-4330.
And remember, you're listening to Never Alone, Never Bored.
Thank you, Greg.
I still can't believe that you have that many activities on a daily basis.
Daily, and again, that doesn't count the groups that gather together on their own, right? Whether it's during the day or in the evening time. Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing.
Well, again, you have your two big meetings later in August, and one is on the 17th, the other on the 18th, right?
Yeah, right. So come and join us on the 17th, where we're going to be hosting a social hour, a social gathering. You can tour the community, learn a little bit more about the services and the amenities, enjoy some hors d'oeuvres and some snacks and a summer cocktail. And then, of course, on the 18th, come back and see us the next day, learn a little bit more about forgetfulness and signs of dementia with Dr. Henry Callis. That's on the 18th, starting at 1:30. For both of those events, just give us a call here at the community, 772-337-4330.
And I think we've talked about this before. Uh, is your group looking at potential like memory care facilities or no?
So currently, we do not have a memory care setting. I can't speak on whether or not that might be something we do in the future. But certainly, if we find that there is a resident who needs more of that services, then certainly we begin to work with the family to make sure that they get to the right setting, the appropriate setting for that type of care that they would need. And so I can't tell you again if that's going to be something that we may or may not do in the future, but certainly if we find that a resident needs that services, we're partnering with the family to make sure the resident gets the best care possible and gets to that appropriate setting.
There you go. And you're right in the heart of Port St. Lucie, right on Jennings Road. And it is, you've got a gorgeous campus setting that is, it really is beautiful. When you see the tree-lined road going in, it's something to see.
Absolutely. The trees and the lush green and the all of the plants, the annuals going in, on a regular basis, and of course our ponds that are flowing. You can't, I mean, it's like hotel type setting. That's what our residents say all the time. They feel like they're at a resort when they drive in, and then when they're just walking the grounds, they feel like they're in a resort.
Well, and it is. You look. All you have to do is look around, and you realize that it is truly that.
Mhm.
It is. It's.
It certainly does feel like it, I tell you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it. So, your phone number and website.
Sure. So the phone number that you can reach us at is 337-4330. And then, of course, our website, www.portstlucie@harborplace.com. Had to think about that for a minute.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and a very comprehensive website as well. And as I remember, I think you even have floor plans on that website as well, don't you?
We do. So anybody can go on and see the floor plan, sorry about that, where we offer studio and one-bedroom apartments in our assisted living community. And then, of course, in our independent living, we offer studio apartments, one bedroom, and we do have some two-bedroom apartments as well.
That's something. All right. And you and Pat are ready and willing to give somebody a tour at their request, right?
Absolutely. We are proud of what we have here, the services and the amenities, and certainly we are always willing and wanting to show it off. So please stop by, give us a call, 772-337-4330.
All right, Katrina. And once again, you have an event on the 17th and the 18th, and kind of a get to know folks on the 17th, and of course, Dr. Callis on the 18th. So
absolutely. So hope to see you there. Yeah.
Yeah, and just call that number, right? And
yep, just call us 772-337-4330.
All right. Well, look, you have a great week, okay?
All righty, Greg. Thank you for having me.
All right, you bet. Katrina Beasley, the Executive Director of Harbor Place, where you are never alone and never bored. That's for sure. Wow. You're all over the place.